Hello, everyone, and welcome to my live. Let's see, today is July 8th. I am Christine Josti of Mail Something Pretty, and I go live every Tuesday, or just about every Tuesday. And today we're going to have some fun with some two-toned cardstock, or I don't know if we call it two-tone cardstock or paper. To me, it's the same, interchangeable, because there's a sale that starts tomorrow. So there's a 3-day sale on July 8th, 9th, and 10th. No, excuse me, the sale starts tomorrow, which means it's July 9th, 10th, and 11th. Hey, Nancy. Um, and so, oh, Tracy's here too. Perfect. Thanks, guys. So there's a sale on the two-tone cardstock on tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. I'm so mixed up on what day it is. And so I thought I would show you some different ways of using it to show you that it's fun. A lot of people use it for scrapbooking, but I'm going to show you for card making because I don't really do a whole lot of scrapbooking. But I think it was originally created for scrapbooking, but as card makers, we turn everything into something that we can use. Okay, so here we go. And we got Kim on here too. Awesome. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you the 3 cards, and then we're going to make 2 of them. So there's, like I said, I'm going to show you 3 different ways. Um, I'm sure there's many ways. Actually, before I show you the cards, I'll show you the cards first, and then okay. So this is one way, and so you can kind of see the gray and the black, and really that's just as easy as just using both sides of the paper. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And this is the next way. So it's just a little ripping strategy. So again, using both sides of the paper, but this kind of highlights that there's white in the middle. And so we'll make this one. And then this one, again, using both sides of the paper, the gray and the black, but I'm going to show you a kind of a cool way of getting the white highlights on an embossed paper pattern. So those are the 3. Oh, you can't even see me. Well, I'll move them. But first, I'm going to show you in the catalog, in the back. So now you can get every color. Maybe not white and beige. I mean, white and vanilla. I don't know if beige comes in it. So almost every color. All these colors come in 2 tones. So if you just read down the last item on the page, they all say 2-tone cardstock. So that's on each one, and it comes in every color. And you get, let's see, does it say on here? Doesn't. I'm just reading to see how many pieces of paper come in a pack. I'm going to assume it's 12 or 24. It's $10. I'm going to assume it's 12 pieces. I don't have a full pack with me here, so I can't tell you, but I'm guessing it's 12 pieces. Let's see. Let's find a page. Sorry, I wasn't quite prepared. Here we go. 2-tone cardstock. Here's another page. So that's page 76, 77. Does it say how many are in it? 12 sheets. Yep. 12 sheets for $10. So that's actually pretty good because you can use it just as a regular layer in your card. You don't even have to use it because it's special. You can just use it as a layer. So actually, I think it's a little bit more economical that way. And what they do is I'll show you the pieces I have. I only have limited colors. So you brought up. Hopefully you can see the difference. So like it's just the back side. So there we go, black and gray. So it's just the same on both sides. And so what they do is it actually starts as white paper and then they spray color on it or paint color on it, just like they do the designer series paper. I only have one of red, but hopefully you can kind of see. It's like this is more like a melon mambo, and that's a red. I have 2 greens. I think that's granny apple green, but then that looks like lime. So then if you were to get the lemon lime twist, it's probably this and then a shade lighter, but I don't know for certain. don't have it. So these are the two garden greens. Kind of see the difference there. And then the pool party, we're gonna use the pool party, but there, you see it. Sometimes it's hard for me to know if that you are seeing the two different colors. Hello, Mary Lou. It's nice to see you on here live. You've been busy with your family. So the other thing about two-tone, I don't want to forget to tell you, and I had a piece to show you. It does leave fingerprint marks. I'll find it. I had a scrap piece of black to show you, but now I don't know where it is. So I don't know why. You could probably see it best on black, actually. Let's see. Your finger. I just washed my hands, so they're not too oily right now. But if you had cream on your hands or anything, like sometimes you'll see like a fingerprint or just like a little oil marker. So just know that about this paper, that sometimes you'll get a little coloring just because of whatever it touches. All right, so let's get going. So like I said, this paper was created kind of for scrapbooking, but we're gonna use it for card making. So this first card that I'm not gonna make it, but I'll just tell you what I did, and then we'll make the other two. But this does use new products that were just released beginning of July, and I showed you a different card when I did that Z fold card. So I've already showed you this stamp set. I just think it's adorable. And then you get the different dies. So on this card, I used this die right here. You can kind of notice it's like a little score line right here. So it's for like a tag. So here's a full one. Oops. So it goes like that. And so the score line, it just folds in half. And so you can either clip something in there, but really I think it's meant that the bat is supposed to be upside down. So then you can, like if you had, oh, I didn't bring up those cute little cellophane bags, but you know, if you put it on a bag and staple it on or do something, but the bat I think is supposed to be upside down because that's how they kind of sleep. But it does pop open. So it's kind of cute. So what I did was I actually just cut off a little bit under the score line because I cut one on the score line and then the back came off, but then I used it right here. So I cut it just a little under the score line and I just used different pieces to make that. So it just shows that there's the gray and the black and you can kind of see a little bit. I pop these open and this is where those black dimensionals come in really handy. These guys, because then you won't see the white. So you just use black dimensionals on there. So anyways, you could do circles, you could do whatever, but it just shows the two-tone of the cardstock. So that's not really a technique. It's just showing the two sides of the paper. And then this fun Halloween stuff. All right, so the second one we'll make, these are the other two. We'll make this one, I guess, first. This is the order I did it. Oh, let's see. I have questions here. Let's see. Hi, Mary. Catching you live from Colorado. Awesome. What color of the two-tone paper is a must-have? Oh, that's a hard one. So when I first bought them, I bought a pack of black because it also kind of came out last fall. So it came out with Halloween stuff, and I figured I could use the black, which here are two examples of using the black. But this was actually the colors I just showed you. You can kind of see they're a little bit on the Christmas side. These were actually, I took them out of one of those scrapbooking workshop kits that I never put together because I try, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around scrapbooking. So I just kind of took them out. So I would say whatever color that you use the most, I guess. Let's see. And if anyone on here has a recommendation for Mary of what color they think is a must have, but they also sell them in assorted packs. So that's probably what you want to do. You can get them. Let's see if it says on here. I know they sell them in assorted packs. Where they are listed in the catalog is a good question, but I know they're online because I saw them online and I know people have bought them. This doesn't show assorted packs, but you know what? That's what I would start with. So you get an assorted pack. So you'd get, I think, probably 2 sheets of each color. They probably have 6 colors, or maybe they have 4 of 3. That's where I would go. And that way you can get a feel for it, see what colors that you're going to tend to use the most of. All right. So I'm also going to use, let's see, Christy says black is her go-to. And Kim always forgets about the black dimensions. I know. I started doing this with a white one first. You can kind of see there's a little white one in there. And I put a black one on top, and then I remembered. So it's good for Halloween. All right. I'm going to use the basic white note cards and envelopes. So you get 20. This is like one of the best values. You get 20 note cards and 20 envelopes, and it might be I don't want to say the prices. They used to be $7.50. I don't know if they still are, but regardless, whatever they went up to, is still a really good price. They might not have gone up. I don't remember. But you get this is a mailable card, so you can use just a regular stamp. And you get the envelope. So I think it's a really good deal. And then they just make cute little cards. And I thought for this stamp set that I'm using, the Choose Happy, because these guys are kind of on the smaller side. So I think it's proportioned nicely, the note card size. So let's see. So what I did was I measured, so it's 3 1/4, or it could be 3 1/2. No, I forget. 3 1/2. So I just cut the length at 3 1/2. And so again, we got the 2 kind of tones of the pool party. And what I'm going to do is just rip. So you could rip at a curve, you could go straight. That one was kind of straight. But do you see how you get this white in there? And that's because it started with white paper and then they sprayed paint color on top of it. If you can go back and forth and rip from either side, like now I'm on the darker side, or you could just rip all from the same side. Because what we're going to do is we're going to invert our, I'm just going to go mix and match. I forget how I did it. That one might be kind of thin. Ripping cards is fun. So I actually saw one online. It was really cool. It was a bigger card and they had different colors, but they used the rip technique, probably wider, as like the ground. And then they had mountains and they just used brown paper and they ripped it. And then they had the sky. It was really cool. All right. That's probably more than what I need. Okay. So that wasn't hard, right? Anyone can rip a card, rip paper. So I'm going to use some Daffodil Delight for my son. Put this over here. And I have my, hi Debbie, stuck in on there. Mary Lou forgot how fun to rip the strip. It is fun. And so, oh, here, this is, I know I brought up. So if you ripped regular cardstock, which is great too, and you get the rip part is lighter, but it's the same color because it's dyed through and through, versus if you get, those 2 colors are pretty together, Blackberry Bliss and Pool Party. You get the white. So it's just a different dimension, a different element of it. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to, let's do it this way. All right, just so you can see. So I just have a piece of scrap paper and I'm going to, sometimes we kind of blot because we don't want that blot. And then you do a nice little blend. And then I'm going to stamp my son with the same Daffodil Delight. So it's just kind of color and color, almost like our 2-tone, right? Kind of doing a 2-tone sun. And then I have the circle, which I've already cut it just a little bit faster. So I already cut my circle right there. So that's our sun. But now I'm going to, whoop, my star fell off my card. These are like foamy. Oh, I lost the tweezers. Put that back on there. Okay. I'm going to color on here as well. And I'm just gonna blot in the same place on here, and then just get a little color on here. I was trying to figure out like how much did I want like paper, how much did I want just directly on the base, so you can kind of figure that out. All right, so we'll put the sun on the yellow background. All right, and then we don't need that anymore. So now, what I did on this one, see how I have a nice straight edge, oops, right here. That's when I started off on my first piece. So I'm just gonna rip another one just to have that straight edge. And that's gonna be my bottom. Now I could build it and then trim it, but I'll just use this as my bottom, which means I'm gonna kind of, you want to alternate, you don't have to, but if you want to alternate between dark and light, just kind of, I'm not going to glue them down yet. I'm just going to put them kind of in order. Just reminds me of like that fun paper collage my daughter did. Her whole AP art project was a whole bunch of paper collage stuff that she did. And it was really cool, but it reminds me of this a little bit. All right, so you're going to decide how far do you want to go up. It's the same color. Maybe I'll do one more. That's dark. I need all right, I needed the light, so I wanted, all right, so we're gonna start that way. So I'm gonna carefully, hopefully, put them kind of in that order. And we're just gonna glue them down. Let's see. So I'm not gonna start gluing on the bottom. That would kind of make sense because I need them tucked in. So I'm gonna start higher up. So I'm gonna start with this light color. Just make sure you get the edges. And I may have to play once we get to the bottom with it a little bit. Let's see. But you can see how easy, it's just a little ripping and a little gluing, pretty easy. I'm just putting glue like on the two edges here and then kind of in the middle because we're going to tuck in a sailboat at some point. Well, that's cool how it kind of comes close. And I'm going to show you because I have my sailboats kind of sailing in opposite directions. So some of you may already know how to do that reverse stamping, but I'll show you how I did that. Let's see if I make it. So I am just trying to avoid, trying to avoid this white uncovered spot, which is not the worst thing. And actually, I had that on this one, and then I kind of patched it. I could have left it. I'm trying to make that, I think I can make it just work. So I'm going to just have these go kind of, these two just really close together. And then just finish it off. So you can imagine, you can do this, like you had those space stamps from a little while ago. You could do the different blacks. You could do like little moonwalk or something. You could do a sunset, sunrise. You could do different colors. It doesn't have to all be, just the one color that I used. So I have extra pieces for another card later. I'm a little sticky. All right. So now we're just going to stamp our sailboat, which is part of that same set. So the sun was here. The sailboat is here. And I forgot to stamp on the inside, but I'll do Happy Summer. There's a summer on here. I'll stamp that. All right, I'm just going to use Memento Black because I am going to use blends markers to color. So I'm just going to actually color it the same. Oh, I didn't bring up my yellow. Shoot. Just looking around to see if I have anything else I have yellow ink. I don't have a blender pen. Let's see. I wonder. We're going to experiment. I'm going to use my tweezers to put on a little ink. Let transfer over. It's just so little. Look at that. A little bit. Okay, wash those off later. I can always go back later with a marker. All right, so I'm just going to, I had been on sailboats growing up. My friend had sailboats, but we always had a motorboat, but we don't anymore. And I remember let's see if I do this right, because I know there's a sailor watching. Their jib is red, or their spinnaker is red. I don't know. One of theirs was red. And so that's why I chose to do a red sail. I'm going to use the light blue here. Just on this one, I'm going to do stripes. On the next one, I'll do something different. And I'm just going to cut it out with scissors, because there are no dies, but it's not hard. So I usually leave a white border between I'm cutting and the stamped image. I'm just going to go right around, snip that off, make it easier. You could also do this technique. There is that new, I'm going to call it the wrong thing. I want to call it Sailing Home, but I think that's the old sailboat set from a few years ago. They have that new one that came up this summer, and it's much bigger with the hybrid embossing folder. This technique would be really good on that one. All right, so I just came in, I'm just rotating my paper to cut out that white space there. I'm gonna do the same thing on the side. All right, so there is the sailboat. All right, so we'll put that somewhere around there. But I like, and I could have two sailboats sailing in the same directions, but it's kind of nice when they cross paths. So to do that, I'm going to use the same black ink. I'm going to use my silicone mat. And I am going to move this pad because I want you to be able to see it. But also, I actually found it works better on a harder surface than using a piercing mat. You'll see in a second. All right, so I'm going to stamp directly on my silicone mat. And this works with every ink except StazOn, because StazOn is permanent. It will just dry directly on your mat and it won't work for the transfer. So I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to lift up my mat. This is good. I don't have to. Sometimes you want to like have it go in an exact area. This we're just going to cut out. And you press it, and then you get a reverse image. So I'll do that again. So I'm just going to stamp it Just don't stamp it on this bumpy part. So stamp it up. And then turn it around. Lay it down. And you can see through it. So like if I wanted to have things in a row or like two animals kissing or something, you can kind of see through it. Just like a clear block of where to put it. So it's not quite as dark of it because it's like a second generation, but it's pretty good. So then to color it, I'll do the same brown bottom. And I think this is pecan. Yeah, this is pecan pie. The light. And then, because I want it to be a little bit different, I colored the whole stripe area in with my dark navy blue, which is pretty dark. So I'll just outline it. I didn't want them to be exactly the same. I'm going to leave that sail white. And then I'm going to color the flag red. And then I would just cut this out exactly how I just cut the first one out, but I already cut one out, so you don't have to watch me cut again. But they're pretty easy. All right. So now you can kind of play with it because we didn't, remember we put the glue in the middle, so you can kind of tuck them in to figure out how close do you want them to be. You don't want them too close. You don't want them to crash, and there's sun. So then I'm just going to use dimensionals for the sun. Put that right there. And then I'm just going to put glue on the sailboats. Oops, that's a new one. I haven't opened it up yet. Just a little dab of glue on the bottom and the top. And again, if you had tweezers or something, if you had to lift it up. So that's another nice technique with this ripped paper and the layers. So think about like, what can you tuck in? You know, what, like certainly water, you know, you want something in front of, but what are other things that can be tucked in? If you had, I don't know, grass and had like frogs or something, I don't know, you can think of whatever. So there is the other card. So they're almost the same. There we go. So that is one that's showing the ripping technique. And then the third one I'm going to show you is, this is pretty cool. So I used my black paper. So it almost looks like a chalkboard. So again, we're going to use that note card. It's out of the way. We don't need those. And so I was playing, of course, with the different embossing folders. So you can emboss regular. Tracy, who's my sailor, and she loves how I don't want them to crash. No, I don't want them to crash. That would be a disaster. And then Mike would have to go rescue them. So you can kind of see the different embossing textures. And then I was playing with a sunflower one. And then I'll show you how I got the white. And so these are actually different sides. Like, so those are the same side and that's the back side. And I'm going to show you because it gives different looks. All right. So I did already, here it is. I'm like, I already did some of the cutting. The other thing I discovered, so I ran just a thin strip through the what's it called? The corrugated one. And sometimes when you run them through, you get, it will break the, not break, but it's crack the paper. So there is like a little white there. So sometimes you want that look and sometimes you don't. So I like the look of the black on the top, so I'll use the gray on the side. But because it did the accordion or kinked it up, these were the same size at the beginning, and now this one is a little bit too tall for that. So I'm just gonna trim it. It's like a 16th of an inch. So I just wanted you to know if you do this one and you cut them the same size because of all that folding. And of course I trimmed this one after and I kind of wrecked it. So I wanted to point that out to you. So now they are the same size. Okay. So we're going to throw this through the embossing folder. And you can kind of play around like what parts you want. So the thing to remember though is, oh, I don't know if you can see. Now I can see my thumbprints here, fingerprints. You have the gray side and the black side. So I want this side that I'm going to color or shave, sand. So you want to do this. I don't know how to describe this. So this is like the back side, right? So if you wanted this side to be on the black side, then you have to have this side on, run it through this way. You just have to play with what side you want to be on the top, the color, because it's both ways. So let's see. I'm actually going to do the same because I kind of liked, although it looks kind of cool we'll do this one. So we'll see the two centers of the sunflower. That's what's kind of nice. And so this is a new product that came up beginning of July also. And I love it. Machine. All right. Oh, I'm glad you liked the card, Christy. All right, I'll show them all together at the end too. All right, so this is that new sunflower 3D. And the 3D work really good because you're getting so much detail in there and depth in the paper. It really kind of works with this two-tone paper. All right, so let's see. Sometimes we'll see if yep, it did. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a little like white here. So it's breaking down the paper. So you're seeing what's underneath that first layer. And for this card, that's fine. So just keep that in mind too. If you don't want to see white, then use solid color cardstock. So what I'm going to use is, you can use sandpaper, and I couldn't find our sandpaper. So look at this, is so old. Someone made me this. I couldn't tell you how many years ago, but it's an emery board, and she made a little case, and I keep it in my car for, when we break our fingernails. And so I'm going to sand the top layer because this is raised. You can sand it by shaving off. It's just going to do the raised part. So see how you get that white? So you can kind of figure out, how much or how little you want to sand down. I'm sure there's other sanding tools that you can use, but this is all that I had. And I like how you get all those raised seeds on there, but it totally makes it look like with the black, like a chalkboard. I like that look a lot. But I'm going to show you, like if I was to do the back side of this, it looks really cool, except for I think it looked better if the underside was black. You can see it better. All right. Isn't that really cool? I mean, pretty easy. So if I was to flip it over, so the sunflower, the petals are raised on this side, but they're recessed. But what is raised is the background. So if you were to sand this side, you're just hitting all the opposite points. So it's almost like what's behind the petals, and you get a little bit more on the leaves on this one. So here's that's like the reverse side, which I really like as well. This side you get it's I think you see it more one because it's the black side versus the gray side. But here, this is why I did it on two. You can see it kind of compared to both on that side. So this is the raised and this is the recessed. So it's kind of fun. I'm making a mess in all the shavings of my paper. Okay, but I'm going to use the chalkboard side, the black side. Now this card is going to have a smaller border because I took into consideration that shrinkage and I fixed it. So this one, though I do have to say I do kind of like that white stripe in the middle, that I might. I'm going to trim it because I like it. I'm going to trim this one. So this one will be a little bit skinnier. I have this at 3/4 inches. I'm gonna start at, I'll just take an 1/8 off. Start there. And I'm gonna actually put my cutter at the top and cut down versus cutting up, because if I did this too, if you cut up, it's gonna crinkle up the paper. All the shavings. All right, I need to trim a little bit on the black piece, but I really do like that white stripe, so I think it's worth it. So I'm going to take 1/4 inch off this one on this side. Put the cutter on the top and cut down. Is that enough? I think it's just enough. Okay. So now I'm just going to glue it down. So just make sure on this one, I'm putting glue on the black side. And on that other one, I'll put glue on the gray side. That a little border. Even though that's pretty. A little hidden design. I'm getting dust everywhere. And I'm wondering, I don't think I cut something straight. Let me take this off for a second, if I can. That's not long enough. This is where I run into problems. We're going to, I don't think I cut it straight. And I know I have glue on here. I bet you guys never do this, right? You cut everything perfect. Let's actually see if I can do it on this side. Everything's sticky. Well, we're gonna find out. Cut from the bottom too. All right. Let's see. Now it's a little skinnier than I wanted it, but it's straight. Now it's flattened up a little bit too. Okay. That's all right. And then here we go. I embossed with white embossing powder and black, just the black cardstock. So really now that gives me kind of 3 versions of black. Oh, that's gonna mess me up. I don't have that embossed. I don't have this embossing folder up here. by putting it in the cutter, it the accordion flattened out, so it's not as textured. That's all right. I might fix that later so that it looks a little bit more like that one. I'm going to use, whoops. This is the black and it is vanilla, but you kind of can't tell, hopefully, because I don't have any more of the black and white gingham ribbon. This is still available. Not sure if it's on the last chance list or not, but I know it's still available. It's ribbon that I really like. So I'm going to, you guys have seen me do this before. I folded it over and I'm just going to put a block down to hold it in place. Doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to close my glue so it doesn't club. And then I'm going to take linen thread, which is one of my favorite things. And I'm just going to tie a bow or not, whatever you like. Oops. But the block keeping it in place really helps. It's like a third hand. My loop is sliding off. There we go. And then I'm just going to tie a little bow. I think the linen thread just matches everything. No matter what color it is, just matches. All right. So I like to do that with my ribbon a lot of times. And I did leave it a little longer. I can trim it later. If you wanted this part to be a little bit bigger, just scoot the bow down a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is take my tear and tape, because if I was to certainly use the tape runner to put on this emboss, that's going to rip it all up. So I'm going to just put tear and tape down. This works. This is a great way of putting ribbon down, especially when you're not tying the ribbon to the card. And then I'm just going to stick it right on top. And then I will use these, the foam strips. I like how they're kind of skinny. So I'll just put one on the top and bottom of, so that it will kind of straddle that ribbon. It'll still stick to the cardstock. Sometimes you know how you put it and then it ends up sticking to the ribbon and it still flops. Make sure that's straight. All right. And I thought about even putting like a rhinestone or something there. I don't know if it necessarily needs it, but I think the rhinestone would look nice with the black and the white. So there we go. So those are kind of the chalkboard types of cards. So let me pull all the cards back out. So this was that first one that I just used kind of both sides on the card front, the black and the gray, nothing fancy. And you can use all different shapes. And then I did that ripping one with the sailboats. And then I just did the kind of that chalkboard effect. And that would work with any of the colors. So you could do red, I think would look really striking. I mean, depending on whatever your embossing folder is, excuse me, I think it would look really nice. Even like the swirls. Let's see. This one's not as deep as the sunflower, but you still get a little bit, but it's not as detailed. So you really want like a thick impression of the embossing folder. You know, the one with the polka dots and the circles? Like, I think that one would work really cool. Just trying to think, like the magnolia one I think that's a pretty deep one. Whichever ones have the really deep impressions, I think this technique would be perfect. All right. Let me put myself back on here. Great. All right. So I'm glad you liked them. I can tell by the comments that you guys liked them. So that's great. So the two-tone sale starts tomorrow. It's 20% off all packs of two-tone. So the solid, pretty sure I'll double check, but in the assorted. I don't know why it wouldn't be. And so that's pretty cool. So they're $10 a pack. So that'd be $2 off a pack. So yeah, so that's what I have for you today. And I'm trying to think if there's anything that's happening. If you are local, I know a couple of you are, you're already in my club, but today's the last day to sign up for my in-person club. So if you live anywhere near Norwell, Massachusetts, we'd love to have you join club. And that information is on my blog, all the dates and everything. And I think that's all that's happening that I am aware of. So stay cool if it's hot. It's really hot here today. So stay cool. Or if you have really nice weather, Nancy, you probably have really nice weather. Go enjoy it. And I will see you guys next week. So thanks very much for joining in. And I'll post pictures of these two on Facebook so you can see them. So thanks very much for commenting. It makes it much more fun when I can read your comments and respond to you directly, and for watching. So thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.